everyone to the 42nd Annual Wexler Awards Ceremony. This is really a fantastic time of year because we do all these awards and reward both students and faculty for all their achievements. Before we get going too far, I'd like to recognize a few guests. So right up front somewhere, oh no, back in the back is Lucy Logan, a childhood friend of Jonathan, so welcome back. I'd also like to recognize the folks from the foundation that make all of these awards possible through their help in setting up the logistics. So first, Linda Raish. Brendan's in the back. And in addition, I'd like to have a special recognition for Jill DeMichael, who had worked for the foundation through class for many, many years. 40 years. She really had a special relationship with Jonathan all those years, who funded this endowment and nurtured this award ceremony as it moved forward. And in fact, she is mostly responsible for getting the name correct in our building as well. The Wexler name had been for many years just applied on the maps to the tower, when in reality it should apply to this building as well as the tower. It took a number of years, and you're digging in the archives to straighten all that out. So very much appreciate that. What a nice venue. By the way, I encourage you to look at the history of the Wexler Awards. Rhonda has put together a marvelous display starting in the 40th anniversary of all the Wexler Award winners. I noticed some of the Wexler Award winners from way back looked like they were kind of old back then when they won the awards. Because we used current pictures for them a couple years ago together. But it's a wonderful display, and so I encourage you to look at that after the break. All right, so let's get started with the main event. So let me just say a few words of history and recognition of Jonathan Wexler's efforts here before we actually give out the awards. This event, we celebrate the excellent student scholarship as well as the outstanding teaching through two awards, one for the best undergraduate student in the mathematical sciences and one for the best instructor mentor for our undergraduates. This award ceremony is also a celebration of the legacy of Charles Wexler, who was the founding chair of the math department at ASU, and to his son Jonathan, who for over the past 42 years has promoted his father's legacy through the endowment that funds this award series. A little bit of history. Charles Wexler literally was the math department in its early years. He was the one and only faculty member teaching mathematics from 1930 to 1941 in Old Main. He taught all the math classes back then. He finally received some help from the bandmaster in the early 40s to teach math classes. But basically it was 10 years of just Charles Wexler. Then through the 40s and 50s, Charles shepherded the growth of the math department. Back then it was a department, it wasn't called a school until much later. The enrollments, of course, surged during that period, so he had to hire lots of faculty through the 40s and 50s, and just a few mile markers in that process. The first ever National Science Foundation grant in mathematics at ASU was awarded in the late 1950s. The first master's degree in mathematics was awarded in 1958. The PhD program was approved in 1960, and that was the year after Arizona State College was renamed Arizona State University. The first PhD was conferred in 1966. Just gives you a few mile markers. Although by this time Dr. Wexler had passed the chairship to others, he continued to teach math and served ASU until his death in 1977. So that was 47 years of a career here at Arizona State. To honor his legacy, the building was named after Charles, finally a few years ago with Jill's help. His widow, Helen, and son, Jonathan, along with a few faculty here at the school at the time, helped to organize and contribute to an endowment that funds the Wexler Award series. The first awards were conferred in 1978 and annually thereafter. I also should mention that Jonathan has since endowed many other things. He has endowed 2 dinner series, one for outstanding seniors, and then most recently one for outstanding juniors that we also have in the springtime. And the students, this is a way of getting students, outstanding students, to talk to faculty in a very nice social gathering, either at the U Club or at Tricks. It's a wonderful event. So Jonathan has really helped in many, many ways to keep his father's legacy alive and to help out our school. All right. So let's start. We have 2 awards to give out. Let's start with the Charles Wexler Teaching Award. It is my great pleasure to present the 2019 Charles Wexler Teaching Award to Dr. Marco Samara, a lecturer here in the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences. Let me just say a few words about Marco and his wonderful qualifications, and then we'll invite Marco back up to the stage. The awards committee selected Dr. Samara as the clear favorite based on his outstanding teaching and mentoring in classes at all levels, ranging from freshman college algebra to senior level project-based classes in probability and statistics. Dr. Samara earned his PhD in mathematics from Ohio State University in 2011 in probability theory. He also has a master's degree from Ohio State in applied statistics. Both of these degrees have come in very, very useful for his teaching. After graduation, he taught at Georgia State for several years, and then we were lucky enough to hire him in 2015. Since his arrival at ASU, he has taught 13 different courses, including college algebra and business math at the low levels, differential equations and linear algebra at the mid-range level, and 5 different probability and statistics classes at the senior 400 level. He has mentored 4 honors projects for our students, and just this past year, he co-advised an undergraduate honors thesis. Here are a few of the many student comments we received as part of the nomination. A student in his Statistics 427 class writes, Dr. Samara is an engaging instructor, yet patient with those who need extra explanation. He took extra time out of his schedule to work with me on an honors contract project for this course. Another student writes, truly one of the best math professors at ASU. He explains very clearly, he is patient and helpful to answer questions in class and after class and in his office hours. He makes me feel welcome to ask him questions. He truly wants to help the students do their best. In addition to all his good teaching, he does a lot of service work and help with other instructors here in the school that's worth mentioning. In particular, one of the ways is in curriculum development. As an example, he co-developed with lecturer Stefania Tricogna a computerized way of randomizing the labs for the MATLAB component of our differential equations and linear algebra courses to help maintain standards and integrity. So Dr. Samara really is a truly outstanding choice for this award in every sense of the word. He's an outstanding teacher, scholar, mentor, and contributor to the school at all levels for undergraduate instruction. Marco, please come up.
Have you guys walk out of this, out of the projector light. Okay, very good, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Marco. To say a few words.
Oh, a few words.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much all for such a nice introduction, during which at the moment I wasn't sure who you were talking about. But thank you very much. It is my immense honor and privilege to receive Charles Wexler Teaching Award. I owe this success to many people, and before I thank them, I would like to briefly tell a story of my education, how I got here, and what teaching means to me. So I showed interest in math in elementary school, but it was not until age of 17 that I could say I got hooked on math when I saw aha moment while I was introduced analytic geometry and conic sections. And in my last year of high school, I was studying calculus, and I felt like I was in heaven. I felt so powerful. Suddenly I was able to compute some complicated areas. I was able to understand physics much better and draw graphs of fairly complicated functions without graphic calculator, of course. And it was clear at that time that math will be an important part of my life. And in my undergraduate studies at University of Belgrade in Serbia, country where I'm from, in my freshman year, first year, I studied real analysis. And it was a course about calculus that I already was familiar with, but it was at a totally different level. Suddenly I realized there was so much going on under the hood that I wasn't aware of while I was in high school. And final exam for that course and other courses consisted of two parts, written and oral part. A written part is like here, final exam, but in oral part you randomly choose a card with a couple of questions, and each question is some theorem or even a section of the book, and you need to formulate theorem and rigorously prove it using, of course, epsilon delta language. And I was practicing, I was having a rehearsal at home in my bedroom, and I was pretending as if I am explaining proofs to my students, as if I was their teacher, as if I was actually my professor. And I realized that's so cool. I started liking teaching. I fell in love in teaching, and also I fell in love in analysis. And in my graduate studies, I chose probability because it includes a lot of analysis, and which I love, and real-world applications. I could quickly see real-world applications. And while I was a graduate PhD student in probability, I felt ashamed not knowing enough statistics. So I enrolled also in statistics department, which was separate from math department at the Ohio State. So I got a degree, master's in statistics as well. So I love teaching for various reasons. It kept my knowledge. I am able to maintain my knowledge, not to forget what I learned from in math and statistics courses. It helps me learn new things. I always learn something while teaching from my students. Teaching is also about psychology, pedagogy, didactics, and I like interaction with people, and especially young people full of energy and desire to learn. I like helping them on their path, and they also help me learn at the same time. And now I would like to thank everyone to whom I owe for this achievement. I'm sorry, it will take a little but it's their fault. Why did they help me so much? So first and foremost, I would like to thank Dr. Charles Wexler for being a great person and teacher and for inspiring this award funded by his wife Helen and son Dr. Jonathan Wexler. By winning this award that bears Dr. Charles Wexler's name, I'm very delighted that I will forever be connected with this great person and educator. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Jonathan Wexler and Wexler family for their generosity in providing this highly respected and prestigious award. I'm extremely grateful to Dr. Jonathan Wexler and Wexler family for keeping the tradition for such a long time. Such a long tradition brings an additional gravitas and significance to the award and makes me, as its recipient, additionally honored and humbled. I would also like to thank my wife, Vesna, for all her support. It would have been impossible for me to achieve this success at work and at the same time have two great daughters and family without her. Many times I stayed in my office late night or had to go back to office again at night to finish some work there. And I would like to use this opportunity to recognize and acknowledge all her effort and sacrifice she had to make in order for me to do my job well and contribute to the school more. This success is also her success. Thank you, Vesna. I would also like to thank I would also like to thank Dr. Donald Jones, whose contribution to this achievement is threefold. Not only that he was an award committee member, but also he is the one responsible for assigning me such a variety of courses. Thanks to him, at some point, I suspected that our school has infinitely many courses, since for every semester there was a new course for me to teach. That's how I felt at some moment. In addition, he visited one of my classes for teaching evaluation. I would also like to thank Dr. Albert Bogas, our chair, for all his support and approvals of teaching assignments suggested by Don Jones. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Stefania Traconia, I already mentioned, for working with me on randomization of MATLAB labs for differential equations and applied linear algebra classes. Her dedication to hard work was very inspiring and made me work harder. Along with Stefania, I would also like to thank Renate Mittelmann and her student Dilip Pandey for collaborating with Stefania and me on the labs project. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Katie Colossa for assigning me excellent graders, our graduate students, to whom I'm also thankful. Without grading process running smoothly, I don't think I would have received good evaluations imagining this award. Katie was also assigning me to evaluate graduate students' teaching and in that way contributing to the school as well. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Scott Sargent for his numerous advices on various issues related to teaching and for visiting some of my classes for teaching evaluation. And speaking about teaching evaluation, I would also like to thank Dr. Nicolas Lanchier. Also, thanks to Doug Williams for helping me out with Alex software. I would also like to thank several colleagues, just one minute, or two. I would like to thank several colleagues who helped me improve my software for making Math 275 exams. I would like to thank Drs. Adeline Cornelius, Stephen Scheffer, Abba Gumel, Stefania Traconia, Evan Milliken, and Richard Reynolds, all doctors. Many thanks to our staff, most notably Joseph Davis, Cindy Iltz, Rhonda Olson, Melanie Schmock, and Jeff Luchak. I would also, and everyone else with whom I interacted and had any kind of interaction, any occasion and reason. I would also like to thank award committee members for choosing me as the winner, Dr. Matthias Kowski, Dr. Donald Jones, Dr. Wenbo Tang, and Dr. Jelena Milovanovic. That's all right. I would like to thank to all my students from whom I learned a lot, also students who chose me to advise them for honors project and honors thesis, as well as students who wrote nice evaluations for me, and those who nominated me for the award. And to paraphrase Johann Wolfgang Goethe, I think it was his thought, I'm not sure. After I thank everyone who contributed to my success, there is not much left for me, and that's how I really feel. At the end, I would like to say that apart from honor and joy, Charles Wexler Teaching Award also brings me a great deal of additional responsibility beyond regular responsibility that my teaching job assumes. It raises all bars and standards that I set up for my teaching and service to the school. And after winning this award, I feel I should contribute more than I did so far in order to justify the committee's decision to deliver me this award. Wherever I go, in any occasion, in school or elsewhere, I will always be carrying the title of Charles Wexler Teaching Award winner. And so not only towards the school, from now on I also have responsibility towards this prestigious award and Dr. Charles Wexler himself to do my best in representing the school as well as Dr. Wexler's name to the best of my knowledge and wisdom. Thank you very much again to Dr. Jonathan Wexler for your generosity and for all you are doing for the school. Thank you very much, everyone. I apologize if it was too long, but I really had no apology necessary.
You join a good crowd. There's several Wexler Award winners here in the audience. Jelena won the award last year. And let's see, Horst is back in the back. Andrew Brenner won the award. Don Jones, Matthias. Yeah, Brett somewhere. Yeah. Matthias. So you're in good company.
Thank you.
All right, so on to the next event, and the student award, the best student award. So each year the awards committee also selects the best student award, and I would like to invite Andrew Brenner up to the stage to present this outstanding student award to a very special individual that's here today. And first, let me just say a couple of words about Andrew. Andrew had the student in several of his classes. Andrew has a PhD from Cambridge University and has been here at ASU since 1984. That's long enough, in fact, to have done 2 tours of duty in this job. So impressive. Andrew has an outstanding research career in number theory. He's also a superb teacher mentor himself, having won the Wexler Award for Best Teacher in 1987. So it's very fitting that he come up and introduce this year's recipient for the Outstanding Wexler Student. Andrew.
Thank you for those very kind remarks. When I was asked 2 or 3 weeks ago if I'd be willing to make this presentation to Emily, it didn't take long to answer. I was absolutely thrilled to accept, because Emily is a truly distinguished and worthy recipient of the Wexler Award. It's a pleasure to have had her in my classes. I think I'm probably the instructor who's had Emily in more classes than any other. She's been in 3 of my classes. I may be wrong, but I think that may be true. She took a senior level number theory, the senior level undergraduate number theory class for me last year, presumably as a junior, and did outstandingly well. In reviewing Emily's record, I've come to the conclusion I'm a really mean person. Looking at the spreadsheet of the courses she's taken, of the grades she's received, A+, 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 until you come to Bremner, where there's an A. and this is a reflection on myself. Somehow I'm one of the old fogies. I never got used to this half-grade plus or minus grading. So I just don't give plus or minus grades. But it's really made me think that I should, because Emily would have been in receipt of an A+ from Andrew too. So this is a remarkable young lady. A GPA of 4.20 in mathematics. Now she's a dual major. It's not as if she's spending all her time doing mathematics. She has a major also in music, violin performance, where her GPA is 4.11. So a dual major with that level of achievement is extraordinary. I don't think I've come across this before. Several of my colleagues told me how brilliant Emily has been in their classes. Amazing from Matthias Kauski. The A pluses were in 272, 300, 342, 410, 415, 442, 444. From my colleagues such as Susanna Fischl, Andrzej Cipinov, Matthias Kauski, none of them easy pushovers. An A plus is well deserved from any of those instructors. So Emily was born and grew up in Tucson, a native Arizonan, relatively rare to find these days. This is a state of transience. I view myself, having lived here since 1984, I find myself a longer term resident than most people I meet. She went to University High School in Tucson, and as I say, is doing this dual major in mathematics and violin performance. She's been on the Dean's List for 8 semesters, which is again a remarkable achievement for an undergraduate student. Of course, outside mathematics, where she absolutely excels, most recently, of course, she's been taking my graduate level 543, 544, the abstract algebra classes. Now, these are tough classes. These are really tough classes for graduate students. For undergraduate to achieve this success that Emily has done is really, it's humbling. It's really nice to see it. She works terrifically hard. The homework is beautifully presented. I can't find any criticism, even going from A to A+, I can't find a criticism that would fault this A+. And of course, I yet have to assign a grade this semester, so maybe I'll have to break my record. So Emily, of course, has this passion in music, which is absolutely marvelous. Mathematics and music go together. I won't finish the analogy, there are many ways of finishing the analogy. For the last 3 years at ASU, she's worked in the ASU String Project, which teaches individual violin and viola lessons to school-age students from around the valley. These lessons provide low-cost or free, are provided low-cost or free to the students, and so the children thereby have the enrichment that music provides to them and their families. She's currently heading a community music outreach project that she co-founded last year, which provides the children enrolled in the String Project with free tickets, and their families, to free tickets to ASU symphony concerts. So she's really promoting the role of music. You know, Emily's driven by music. I'm an absolute classical music nut. So when I saw that she was going to give us a recital, I was just so delighted when I saw this announcement that she was actually going to play the violin for us. My first exposure to Bach, I think, was probably as a teenager when I was given a record of the Bach partitas. And for Emily's sake, maybe I should say that a record is one of these 12-inch vinyl disc with grooves on that you stick a needle in. It sounds so primitive nowadays. But my word, that was an eye-opener. I played the second partita, the chaconne of the second partita. When I listened to that, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. I don't know how old I was, 14, 15. And I played that record 50 times in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It was almost life-changing and set up this devotion that I have to for classical music. It's not unknown amongst our faculty. Dr. Wexler's day, if we go back to the 1970s, we have people like Harvey Smith, who, while not a performer, was integrally involved in the music of the Phoenix community. Ron Jacobowitz, who old-timers here will remember, but he retired maybe 15 years ago, was a faculty member in statistics, although he did his PhD in number theory. And he almost had a career as a professional concert pianist. He still lives in the Valley, and he still gives private recitals around the Valley. I sometimes see his name on concert announcements. Many involvement. Doug Moore, who of course was chair of the awards committee for many years in the 1980s, maybe early 90s, played the viola in the Tempe Symphony Orchestra. So music and mathematics really do go together well. And I can only admire Emily's ability to play this music that I listen to with such pleasure. To play it adds this extra level of emotional content and I regret maybe not playing either the piano or the violin, never having learned to play. So Emily, let me present you with the award as one of the most outstanding students it's been my pleasure to know in the last couple of decades.
Projector light there. We'll take more after, but just for here. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, that's my award.
Hello, and thank you, Dr. Brumner, for introducing me so generously. I'm very honored to have been selected for this award, and I would like to thank Dr. Charles Wexler for establishing his department and the entire Wexler family for establishing and supporting the award, of course, but also for all the contributions they have made to the ASU math community. And there really is such a strong sense of community that I've found here. I've sort of divided my time between here and the School of Music, but I have found a strong community here, and as well as a strong commitment to teaching among all the faculty that I've encountered here, in addition to their amazing research work. I'd also like to thank the selection committee. In particular, I would like to recognize Professor Kafsky, who was my topology professor a few years ago. And his class was one of the first classes I took at ASU that really opened my eyes to the power of abstraction and got me excited about theoretical math. And I'm really grateful for that. And also, his commitment to his students is outstanding, and his teaching style is very engaged with his students. He was always checking our understanding of concepts and making sure we had good study skills. I would like to thank Dr. Brumner again as well. I've absolutely enjoyed every class that I've taken with him. He conveys such a genuine love of the subject through his lectures, which are clear and patient and well organized, and just through his general demeanor. He is clearly excited about what he's teaching. He always has some interesting fact or new largest prime found, and also works to ensure that we are understanding the material and getting something meaningful out of the class. And thanks and congratulations are in order also to Dr. Shama. I had him for differential equations. It was a good class. I really enjoyed it. But mostly his energy and enthusiasm about teaching was what I appreciated about it. So that's a very well-deserved award. I don't have time to name all of the professors whose classes I've taken here, but I'm grateful to every one of them for what they've taught me. I've learned so much, and when I came here, I knew I wasn't ready to give up math. I don't think I am. I don't think I ever will be. But there was so much more to learn, and there's so much that I feel I have learned being here. Not just the incredible subject matter, some of this amazing mathematics that I've learned, but the thinking skills and just the abstract reasoning and the hard work that it takes to really understand some of these concepts. And I know that my work in music and math have complemented each other. The amount of practice that both require. And so I'll carry that with me for the rest of my life, I think. And I hope that I can spread this genuine appreciation of math with others, whether I'm tutoring or just being a mentor to perhaps my music students. And anyway, I won't talk for too much longer because I will be playing something for you. This is one of my favorite movements from Bach's 6 sonatas and partitas. This set of works is considered an essential part of the violin repertoire, not just because of the way they expanded the capabilities of the instrument, but their considerable musical value, as Dr. Bremner mentioned. They're really wonderful pieces of music, and so it's my pleasure to share with you the third movement of the second sonata for solo violin.
I'd also like to recognize Emily's parents are right here. So.
Yes.
We are so thrilled. She has just raved about her mathematics classes and how much she found. I mean, she came up here to study music, but as she said, she couldn't let go of the math, and she decided to pursue both.
Fabulous.
We're just thrilled.
And we're very, very thrilled to have Emily agree to play for us this afternoon. So this is a really special treat. Wexler, who will join us by the wonders of technology from California. So Jonathan will share some of the memories he has of his father and related things about the history of the school. So, Jonathan.
Beam him up. We're going to call him on FaceTime. Hello.
Hello?
We can see you and we can hear you. You're live.
Very good. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Director Boges, for the introduction, which I'm sure was well done. Next, I would like to congratulate the recipients of this year's awards, Dr. Marco Samara, for receiving the Charles Wexler Teaching Award, and Miss Emily Rumby, the student recipient of the Charles Wexler Mathematics Prize, for the background that I think has been given to the audience. They are very worthy recipients of this recognition. Associated with this recognition is an honorarium for each of them of approximately $2,215 before deductions. Always deductions. Next, I would like to thank the School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences for arranging today's event, and for the staff of the department of the school for the many good things they did in making it possible. In particular, Rhonda Olson, who was a wonderful organizer of events like this. In the early years of these awards, my mother, Helen Wexler, used to say a few words about Tempe and the school. In the early years, when she was no longer able to do this, I began to make use of material found in my father's papers and elsewhere to try to provide some background on who he was and how he affected people who came in contact with him, both as students and as faculty peers. Sometimes it was material written by him, sometimes it was written, sometimes the material was written about him. And for many years, I was able to use fresh material, but at some point I began to recycle old material. And today I thought I would use something that I like very much, that dates back to 1973. In that time frame, he was one of the finalists for the university-wide ASU Alumni Teaching Award, and input was solicited from faculty members, prior students, and others to decide who the final successful nominee would be. And in conjunction with that, I thought I would share with you a letter that was written at that time by Professor Alan Feldstein, now Emeritus Professor Feldstein, that I like very much. It's addressed to the Alumni Association, Arizona State University, Tempe, Arizona. Gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I write this letter in support of Professor Charles Wexler as Arizona State University's Teacher of the Year, for it was his dedication, enthusiasm, and encouragement 20 years ago which helped direct me into my career in mathematics. In the early 1950s, when I was a student here, Charlie was Mr. Mathematics at Arizona State. His teaching load was enormous. Almost single-handedly, he trained all the students in engineering, in the sciences, and in education. The state of Arizona must have hundreds of mathematics teachers whose love of the subject was inspired and cultivated by Charlie's warmth and enthusiasm. In those days, students majoring in mathematics were few and far between, both nationally and in Arizona. Charlie recognized, though, that these students needed specialized courses beyond the then normal capabilities of the department. For him, the solution was straightforward. In addition to his typical heavy teaching load, he lengthened his day to teach us the extra courses. These were seminars in statistics, or number theory, or advanced algebra, or applied mathematics, or transform theory. Whatever we wanted to study, Charlie was there, ready to teach us, whether there were 2 of us, or 8 of us, or if I was the only one, whether it meant meeting us for extra afternoons at school, or, as happened very often, for extra sessions at his home. Charlie lectured, and we listened. Charlie probed, so that we learned to inquire. Charlie questioned, so that we learned to reason and to understand. He did this with patience, with encouragement, and with love. After those ASU days in the early 1950s, I attended graduate school at UCLA and received my doctorate in mathematics there. Then I joined the faculties of UCLA, Brown University, the University of Virginia, and finally, ASU. Among all the mathematics teachers whom I have known at all these institutions, whether as a professor of mine or as a colleague, Charlie Wexler surpasses them all. He is not merely Arizona State's Teacher of the Year, but after a brilliant career of 4 decades, he is its Teacher of the Century. I support this most deserved award for Charlie in the strongest possible way. Sincerely, Alan Feldstein, Associate Professor of Mathematics. Oh, that year, he was a successful candidate for the university-wide award. And I think my mother would have been very pleased to have been able to have this award, have this letter made available to her in her lifetime. I certainly am. And I like it very much. Again, my congratulations to Dr. Marco Samara, the recipient of the Charles Wexler Teaching Award, and Miss Emily Rumney, the recipient of the Charles Wexler Mathematics Prize. And thank you, School of Mathematical and Statistical Sciences, for sponsoring the event today. And thank you, members of the audience, for coming today. I'm finished.
So afterwards, if anybody would like to have FaceTime individually with Jonathan, we'll leave him dialed up. So we'll be able to go over to the computer and talk to him in just a couple minutes. So as soon as we're done, you guys can take turns over there.
So let me just say a couple of final words of thanks to you, Jonathan, for making all of this possible. Your legacy, as well as your father's, will live on. You've benefited generations of students and faculty alike. We owe you an intense debt of gratitude. Thank you very much. And a number of people in the audience will probably want to come up and say a few words with you. So I hope you will enjoy interacting with them. Certainly they will enjoy interacting with you. Thank you very much.